Hello, Renzulli. Good morning. Sorry. My name is Isabel Fernandez, and I'm going to make a presentation about the negative effects of petroleum on the environment. So the reason I decided to do this topic is because when I was like a younger kid, I would play outside all the time, and it'd be really fun. But nowadays, everyone stays inside watching Netflix. And you might say like, oh, that's just because we have more technology. But in Mexico, sometimes that's not the case because where I live in Mexico, the air is really polluted. So the sky doesn't look black, not yet, but it does look smoggy. And there's some days that the government doesn't let you play outside because of the toxic air. And I think it's really sad that maybe the next generations won't be able to play outside. So that's why I'm doing this topic. So I made a small animation, kind of like an introduction.
You use the mouse. I'll get it, Lisa.
Oops. Okay, so in my animation, there were three main problems that were addressed, and they're oil spills, water from oil refineries, and air pollution. So in oil spills, of course, they have a lot of negative effects on the environment, especially on the sea creatures. So on fur-like mammals like otters, since their fur needs to be clean in order to stay warm, when they get oil all over them, they get really cold, they can't warm up, and they die from hypothermia. So it's really bad. And if they try to clean it off with their mouths, then they get poisoned and they also die. And then for seabirds like seagulls and pelicans, their feathers get all oily and then their water resistance goes away, so they also die from hypothermia. And fish, you might say, oh no, they're underwater and oil just floats. But sometimes it does get mixed, and then fish also get affected, and their lungs, like their breathing rates and heart rates change, their fins erode, their livers get larger, and then their eggs and larvae have problems with growing. So it does affect them as well. It also kills corals, so it's very bad. Then water from oil refineries. So oil refineries are basically like these factories, and they have the pure oil, and they treat it in different ways to get gasoline and diesel and all of these other oil products. So there are some parts where they use water for the treatments, and they also have cooling towers which also use water. So when they don't want the water anymore, the water is filled with a ton of hazardous chemicals. And before they used to just dump it in the ocean or inject it into the ground, which would get into aquifers. But now there's some regulations. You have to treat the water before you can set it back out in the environment. Of course, this means that there are still some hazardous chemicals in the water and still not good for the environment. It's not as bad as before, but it's still bad. Then air pollution. So there's a ton of cars. Everyone owns at least one car, I'm pretty sure, that's sitting here. So all of these cars, of course, they have exhaust, which has CO2. But all of this comes from the gasoline the car is burning. And where does the gasoline come from? The oil. So it's the oil's fault, and it's contributing a lot to the global warming by destroying the ozone layer, and then the glaciers will melt, and a lot of ecosystems will die. So the solution I propose is really simple. It's been around for like a lot of time. We just haven't used it. We just have to start using all of the alternative energy sources. Get some solar panels. Donate to people that build more windmills to get wind power, or to build hydroelectric dams, or geothermal power plants, and maybe even biofuel. People are using biofuel now as well. If we start using all of these things, we will stop using the oil, and we will see, like, we don't need it. It's just there. We're just very spoiled and we're using it. We can use all of these different things. So, this guy, a professor in Stanford, his name is Mark C. Jacobson, he said that if we start right now and using all of these alternative energy sources, in 20 to 40 years, everything we have will be running on alternative energy sources. And, well, of course, the planet will be a lot greener, and maybe the people in future generations will be able to enjoy the outdoors as we have. So, we're excited. Thank you for watching.